And I think to not freak out when we actually change. The moment that things really start changing, it's almost, there will be this signal in our conditioned nervous system of, oh, this is going into the wrong direction because I'm losing control, even though I was praying for losing control and letting go, etc., before. Now it worked and I freak out. And I think how to be oriented with the taste or the frequency of the disorientation that will inevitably happen on the way. I think that is a teaching. If I could teach that in an effective way, I would be super happy, because it's like, you will have the chaos signal inside. You will have the disorientation. And on that level, you will panic. You will panic. You will panic. If your world explodes because you are not who you thought you are, you will panic. The thing is, there is an essence inside that comes from the body, but it shows up as consciousness. I think it's an embodied spirit. And that is, I know exactly that this is the path. It's like our instincts go with more linear orientation into the chaos and the dissolution and the disorientation. Then they are calmed down, which is eventually shut down in the so-called structure or order. So I think that would be so interesting, developing a kind of protocol or teaching or methodology or guidance to transmit, to hand over the kind of meta-orientation that is waiting in your instincts in order to guide you through the chaos. And it is absolutely possible. It's not even a capacity. It's really just something that we have to reanimate inside. And in that way, then the fear from change is not the problem, because then you can handle the fear, but you will be afraid. We are afraid of the fear because then we lose the track, but the fear is not the problem. It just has to, we just have to stop being impressed on a level from our fear where we then shrink back. So I would be thrilled about a culture that doesn't promote the solution or the healing, but how to stay oriented in the chaos in between. This like living between the chairs, between the poles, dancing there. Maybe this is this era. And what is there needed? I was so thrilled. I won't, just in case that we will use this recording for something published, I will not say what you did in your last project, Philip. So this premiere is headed over to you. However, I was so thrilled about you hacking another part of this embodiment universe, because I think it is a lot about which micronutrients, macronutrients, elements, methods, tools, traditions, techniques need to be combined today, from magnesium spray on our skin to certain dance classes, to certain meditation techniques, to brain hacking, to MCT oil. I have no fucking idea. But what needs to be combined nowadays in order to provide our also damaged nervous system with just super pragmatic, realistic stuff in order to let through into our awareness what I would call this embodied spirit that then knows the path in spiritual terms, in psychological terms, and in instinctive terms. We do not have to differentiate. We do not have to decide. We just have to say, let's use this word for now. It's just a fingertip.
And it works for me, path, you know. And I think, you know, there is within each individual a compass that orients them to that path. That it, you know, we've so clotted and condensed and contracted the body that the compass needle is immobilized. And as you begin to find that inner spaciousness, you are oriented. And that, you know, I think that's what we are. If we stand a chance, it's the journey back to that compass needle that will most effectively help us change without fearing the change.
Yeah.
And the degree, I mean, it's interesting to me that, you know, that thing of knowing everything about the world, we also, in a similar way, are told to and seek to know everything about the self. Well, who am I? Well, I graduated from this university and this is my favorite color and here's my favorite series and that's who I am. And we construct this structure of who we know ourselves to be, and defend it. And we spend our lives defending it. And what I find interesting, speaking of the pandemic, I think the reactivity against wearing masks is part of the defense of who I know myself to be, of that construct. So this is me, and I'm not someone who wears a mask. I'm, and if I put on a mask, who am I then? And so even that sensible precaution that is not so much for yourself as it is for those around you is untenable. It can't happen because there's this little crack in this structure of who I know myself to be.
And it's so weird because, I mean, the beginning of this conversation, I was crying and I was sharing that I feel uncomfortable with losing my mask. At the same time, I can run around and say, I'm not somebody that somebody tells, like when I have to wear a mask. And the world around is like, yes, baby, we are telling you that you have to wear a mask. Otherwise, you are not allowed to buy in our organic store. I'm so super sorry. So there is something of us being really so... like, what did we do with all those decades in our life where we did not have to wear a mask? Oh, we wear it 24/7 just out of free choice. This is what we did. Now we have to do it. And now we are like, no, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm like, I mean, this mask is for me way more comforting and way more relaxing than any other individual mask that I was busy with when nobody was wearing a mask before the pandemic.